Alright guys, what's up? Welcome back to another edition of the Leadoff Show. This is June 2nd. We have a 13 game MLB slate tonight, so we're going to have a lot to cover tonight. Ton of good pitching. We got Ohtani versus Framber in Houston. We got a lot of top arms pitching across the slate, so like I said, we got a lot to break down. We can go ahead and jump right in. There is some weather concerns for tonight, so real quick we can look at this. Toronto, New York, scattered shower chance for delay. Verlander and Bassett in that game, so maybe probably out on them, but maybe even another knockdown. Tampa Bay versus Boston, relatively fast moving showers. Barely good chance for delay or two, and not out of the question for a postponement. So that's definitely something we're going to have to keep our eye on. That's Glasnow's in that game. Might have some slight interest in him at pitcher, but the bats in this game, especially on the Tampa side, are probably going to be popular. So we need to keep an eye on that game. Cleveland, Minnesota. I'm probably not considering any pitchers here. Colorado, Kansas City. Probably not any pitchers here, so delay doesn't really worry us. And then Baltimore, San Francisco. Wind blowing out, but it's kind of minimized in this part. So, all right. With that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down each game. We just have some crazy high temps in some of these Northeast games, so I'll make sure to call that out when I can. But we can go ahead and jump in. We got Cardinals Pirates 5.02 total for the Cardinals, 4.48 for the Pirates. Jack Flaherty 6.8K versus Roansy Contreras 6.2K. I think Flaherty's going to be interesting in this spot. He's one of the few guys kind of low salary wise that is even worth consideration. Trying to look, I don't think really anybody, might be him or Clevenger versus Detroit as like the only guys kind of under 7K that'll be in play. With this temp though, I'm probably not going there. There's just so many good pitchers, like I mentioned. I'll just run them down real quick. We got Ohtani, Framber, Logan Webb, Luis Castillo, Zach Wheeler, Clayton Kershaw. And then guys like Verlander, Bailey Ober, Tyler Glasnow, Charlie Morton, John Gray, Luis Severino. So I think it's just getting too cute playing Flaherty. He's had some good starts this year. His pitch count's up to, go 100 plus whenever they need him to. But I'm probably just out. The walk rates are, I'd say, above average for Pirates, but I'm probably not playing Flaherty. I just don't see it. I don't want to see the upside there. I don't expect this 36-point outing again. I'd say him probably somewhere in this 9 to 16 range is probably most likely where he ends up. So I think I'm probably out. Rollins on the other side, we can just skip over him. He's been back and forth, bullpen rotation, hadn't been doing well. And against the Cardinals, we're not playing him. On the flip side, though, the Cardinals certainly are interesting, especially in this weather. I mean, anytime you get 90 degrees, it's hard to pass that up. I think the Cardinals do make for a great offense today. Let's see, Newt Bar. I'd be interested to see if he's back. He's been hurt the last few days. Looks like Roansy's pretty equal to both sides of the plate. K's are way down versus lefties though, so I think you can really roll anybody out there. Nolan Gorman would be my favorite. He's just been on fire, having a great season. So I think I really like Gorman, but really I think you can attack anybody or play anyone here. If you need cheaper guys, I don't mind going to Donovan or DeYoung or someone like that. So Cardinals are certainly in play. They're probably one of the top offenses. I think we have them and the Phillies. Maybe the Braves as some of just the high projected offenses, and it's for good reason too. This park is more of a pitcher's park, but when it's 90 degrees, I'll take anybody there. Over to the Pirates side. Don't have a ton of interest in the full stack here. Flaherty's been, like I said, been good enough. I'd expect like just a middle of the road start for him this game. See if we can pick anybody out specifically. A little bit worse versus lefties. That'd give me interest in Reynolds and Sawinski. I don't think I'd go anywhere more than that, but I could see getting to either or both of those two, especially Sawinski there at only 3.2K. I mean, he has 2 home run upside every time he takes the field, so I do like that. All right, next game we got Phillies Nationals, 5.16 total for the Phillies, 3.84 for the Nationals. Zach Wheeler 9.2K versus Josiah Gray 6.9K. Another high temp game, 88 degrees, 5 mile per hour wind blowing across the field from right to left. So with all of these pitchers we have, I think I'm going to be out on Zach Wheeler. I mean, he just came out and dominated the Braves. Let's see how the Nationals fare against right-handed pitching. I know they have been low strikeout in the past, but yeah, fairly low strikeout rate. Team total under 20. I think I'm gonna have Wheeler like a knockdown compared to Valdez and Otani. But if you need the salary, if you end up kind of in this 9K range, you're probably gonna be deciding between Wheeler and Castillo. My lean right now would be Castillo. That would change if Texas Roof is open. I'd only like that if Texas Roof is closed. But yeah, I mean, Wheeler certainly has upside against anybody. So yeah, if you end up in the low 9K range and decide between Wheeler and Castillo, maybe just go with your favorite there. But for me, I think that'll probably be Castillo. More because of the weather and the low K rate. Josiah Gray on the other side, no interest there. He's been a little bit better this year, but in this, high fly ball pitcher in this type of game, it's not going to happen. Phillies on the other side, though, are going to be the top offense on the slate. I think we can show exactly why real quick. Look at Josiah Gray against left-handed hitters, 259 I7. He's about to face a bunch of power lefties. Got Harper, Schwarber, and then Stott and Marsh have had good seasons. Then mix in Real Muto or anybody you want there. Turner returning to Washington. He's had a terrible season so far, but I mean, the talent's still there. So if you need a shortstop and he fits into your stack, I wouldn't mind going there. But Philly's top offense for obvious reasons, and I think you can take any of them, even if you need some of the cheap guys. Marsh would be my favorite, but any of these guys work if you need them to complete your stack. Over on the national side, let's see. If Wheeler gets ownership, they certainly make for an interesting one-off. I would not go full stack at all. There's that would definitely not happen. I think a bad start for Wheeler would be like 6 innings, 3 runs, 5 Ks or something. You kind of hope for that because then he doesn't beat you on the pitcher side. But if that's what he ends up, there's no way the Nationals really pay off in this spot. So such a huge slate. I'm probably out on any and all of the Nationals. If you want to throw a dart at somebody, Garcia, Candelario, someone like that is fine, but I don't really like it. Our next game we got Blue Jays Mets, 4 total for the Blue Jays, 4.5 for the Mets. Chris Bassett 8.1K, Justin Verlander 8.6K. We can probably just skip over both pitchers here. Bassett, he's had some incredible starts this year. I know he shut out the Braves a few starts back, but he's just been so up and down. Yeah, ever since then he's had just kind of been going downhill. With the delay, even the delay risk also, I'm just going to be out on Bassett. Verlander on the other side, I want him to come back and be his old self, but against the Blue Jays, this really isn't the time to try to test that. I think I'll probably just skip Verlander today and go somewhere else. See if anything really jumps out. He's going to face a lot of righties, so we can see if he if he has pretty extreme splits, then maybe that'll help him, but I don't know. I'm probably going to be out on Verlander, especially with the rain risk. There's no reason to risk it on a 13 game slate. So yeah, he's actually better versus lefties pretty substantially too. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna be out on Verlander. I don't think it's necessary. We can just wait till he gets back into form. On the flip side though, I don't know, bats. Just went through all those things about the righties having more success versus Verlander. So I think a few righties could work out here. I don't think I'd go full stack, but Bichette, Guerrero, Chapman, I think I could go any one of those guys or some combination of those. But other than that, I'm probably just out. There's no reason to try to get cute and attack Verlander. On the other side, the Mets, I don't really love the weather in this game. 79 degrees with some rain chance. It's a little bit worse than what we were seeing in Pittsburgh and Washington. Let's see. Yeah, Bassett struggles heavily versus lefties. So I think, yeah, any of these lefties would be fine one-offs or a mini stack. I could see going like Lindor, McNeil, Beatty, or something like that. I really like Beatty there in the 5-hole at 3.2K. I think he makes for a good one-off. All right, next game. This one we have the most rain chance. Chance for postponement even. Tampa versus Boston. 4.77 total for Tampa. 4.23 for Boston. Tyler Glasnow 7.9K versus Garrett Whitlock 6.5K. If it wasn't for the postponement, I would definitely have interest in Glasnow. I mean, he's got about as much upside on as anybody on this slate. It's just a matter of his pitch count. He's just coming back from injury, so especially with Tampa, I could see like max maybe 85, 90 pitches probably for him. If the rain clears, he's certainly in play, especially at 7.9K. There's not, it might be deciding between him and like John Gray or Charlie Morton. But with the postponement, I'm probably out on Glasnow. Whitlock on the other side, I would not have interest even if there wasn't rain, so not a big deal there. All right, Tampa though, if this game does play, I think they're one of the top stacks right there with the Phillies. See if we can pull it up real quick. Especially in this ballpark, we've seen this ballpark just go crazy so far this year. So I certainly like Tampa here. There's some pinch hit risk with a few of their hitters, but I think it'll be okay. Whitlock's ISO is about even between the two. Much lower K rate versus lefties though. So I think definitely Franco, Brandon Lau. Josh Lowe is really expensive, so he's hard to get to. So with the weather though, it probably doesn't matter. So yeah, maybe just go elsewhere. If this game ends up happening and you want to put in like Franco or Brandon Lau or something like that, I'm fine with it. On the flip side with the Red Sox, I'm no interest. I mean, Glasnow is going to be a beast. Maybe he'll probably pitch like 5 innings, which is why we won't play him. But on the flip side, I mean, the Red Sox should get shut down or have 2 or less runs. I would expect through the most part of this game. So that plus postponement risk, I'm going to be out on the Red Sox. All right, next game we got Mariners Rangers. 4.11 total for the Mariners, 3.89 for the Rangers. Luis Castillo 9.4K versus John Gray 7.6K. These two pitchers are certainly both interesting. They both have a lot of upside. Castillo finally had started having some good matchups here. Dominated Oakland and Pittsburgh last 2 times out. Texas, I've kind of been picking on them with right-handed pitching this year. That changes now that Corey Seager's back. They're certainly much better offense, especially with the good lefty hitter in there. I think, like I said earlier, I think I'd choose Castillo over Zach Wheeler just because of the weather that Wheeler will face. Let me check the strikeout rates. Yeah, strikeout rate's much higher for the Rangers too than it is for the Nationals. Obviously, it comes with way more risk because these guys have way more power. I think I'd have Castillo just a tick ahead of Wheeler. John Gray on the other side, he's hesitant to say my favorite pitcher in the 7K range, but he probably is. I would like Glasnow if the weather wasn't an issue, but Gray's been really good lately. He can go deep in games, had 5 or more strikeouts 4 straight games. So if you end up in this range, I think you'll be deciding between Walker versus the Cubs, Gray versus the Mariners, or Charlie Morton versus the Diamondbacks. It's probably who you're going to have to decide between in this 7K range. I think I like Gray the most out of all of them. It certainly doesn't come without risk. I mean, we know these Mariners can get to anybody. But if you end up in there, I think Gray's a fine option. The ownership on all these pitchers today should be 10 to 20%. I think they're all very, very close. So if you have a guy you like, I would just run with them. On the flip side, see if we can take any hitters against them. A little bit worse versus lefties, but kind of similar. J-Rod's been finally coming around. He's been hitting the ball good all year, but it's finally results are starting to show. Kalinic's been a little bit off. France is pretty good righty. I think maybe mini stack. If anything, France and J-Rod, or Crawford, France, J-Rod, I'd be fine with. Other than that, I don't see a full stack for Seattle getting here. Gray's good enough, and then this ballpark kind of limits, a massive score. Same story on the other side. I doubt I'll go full Ranger stack, but a mini stack is certainly in play. See a little bit worse versus lefties, but not much. So, like I said, I'm probably just out because Seager price 5.9K is going to be tough to get in the good matchups. I doubt I end up with any Rangers. All right, next game we got Angels Astros, 3.57 for the Angels, 3.93 for the Astros. We got Ohtani versus Framber Valdez, 10.7K for Ohtani. Valdez at 10.1. Certainly going to be your top 2 pitchers on the slate. just a matter if you can afford them both, I guess, is what it's ultimately going to come down to. I think Valdez will carry more of the ownership just because of the offense that he's up against. But I don't think it's that that different of a matchup. We know the Angels are pretty good versus lefties. They got a lot of power lefties in there. It's always so hard to tell with Ohtani's recent starts. Let's pull up Framber real quick. Yeah, I mean Framber can dominate, but I mean he's faced Oakland last 2 times out. I guess this will be partly why look what he did against the Angels last time, 42 points, 12 Ks. I wouldn't expect that 12 Ks to replicate. Obviously, he can, still got there, go 7 innings, 7 Ks or something, but I wouldn't expect the 12 Ks to happen again. Let's see if anything jumps out. So my current lean is Ohtani. This Houston bottom of the order just strikes out a good bit. But I think that because of the salary difference, Ohtani 10.7, Framber 10.1, I think Framber will be more popular. So 22% for Houston, a little bit lower than I was expecting. I guess some of these guys in the middle now, but the bottom 3 hitters are always good to attack. Yeah, under 20% K rate versus lefties. For the Angels, well, that's not even including Ohtani, who's probably right there around 20% as well, maybe a little right there with these other guys. So my current lean's Ohtani. If you can play both, go for it. I don't think there's any reason to worry about playing guys in the same game. I think that's fine. But I think, like I said, I think ownership will go to Valdez in Valdez's favor just because of salary. My lean would be Ohtani, just your upside anyway. But obviously both are great. If you need the $600, just go to Valdez and feel confident in it. For hitters, I'm not gonna have any interest probably in either side. I mean, obviously they make for massive leverage. If you don't play Valdez, go for Trout, Renfroe, or Drury. I mean, any of these guys can take him deep. Valdez is such a ground ball pitcher, though. It's going to be hard to get any homers off of him. But one of these 3 guys would be my play if you need the leverage. On the Houston side, if you don't play Ohtani, obviously you can go with Jordan or Tucker. I would just probably stick to one of those 2 lefties. Maybe Bregman. Actually, he's good versus righty. So Alvarez, Bregman, or Tucker, I think, is where I would go. If you don't play Ohtani, one of these 3 guys would make for great leverage. All right, on the next game, we got Guardians Twins, 4.01 total for the Guardians, 4.49 for the Twins. Aaron Savali, 8K versus Bailey Ober, 8.4K. So the Twins had Correa, Buxton, and Kepler leave the game last night with injury. I had all 3 of them on my team. So there's no telling what this lineup is going to look like. Look like tonight. I think that really doesn't matter with Savali, though. He's not a strikeout pitcher. He's just coming back from injury. I kind of wish it was a better pitcher in this spot. We might be able to attack Minnesota. They have really high K rates, but Savali's not the one to strike guys out. And like I said, it's his first start back, so I really don't know what his pitch count would be. Probably 85, 90 pitch range, which he's one of those guys that really depends on that high pitch count to get the job done. So I could see him getting around like 15 tonight, which isn't going to win it for you on a 13-game slate. So I'm probably out. Ober on the other side, Naylor was out last night, so that limits the this offense a little bit. Let's see, Ober's been kind of hit or miss this year. Yeah, under 20% K rate for this team, though. Zanino, the only one really with a high K rate. So I'm probably going to be out on Ober. I mean, 8.4K. I think I'd rather just go to the guys in the 7K range that we mentioned. John Gray, Charlie Morton, or maybe Michael Wacha. So I think I'm probably out on Ober here in the spot. Just such a low K matchup. It is 84 degrees in Minnesota too, so I'm probably just out. Over on the Guardians side, I don't think I have a lot of interest in them as well. Just a little bit of wind blowing in. Ober's been fine. I mean, between both these pitchers, I would expect them to finish somewhere between like 12 to 16 points. They're both pretty good, but low K pitchers. So with that being said, though, I don't think I have a lot of interest in these offenses either. You can take a shot on Naylor if he's back in there, but that'd be about it. Over on the Twin side, I think you can grab a couple cheap bats here. I wouldn't go with the full stack, but I obviously would love Royce Lewis batting higher up in the order. He's been on fire since he's been back up, or been back this year. So I think any of these top 4 hitters I would have interest in. Even just like a mini stack. I think they would be good guys to kind of mix into your lineup. Blanco, always love him. Kurloff, Lewis, and Gallo. If you end up liking, those 4 and you want to pair them with Jeffers or Farmer, make a full stack. I don't have any issues with that. Think it makes for an interesting spot. But I would at least have interest in minis. But if you need, kind of a off the board stack, I think the Twins make for a good one. All right, let's keep going. Got a few games left. Rockies Royals 4.62 total for the Rockies, 4.88 for the Royals. Chase Anderson 5.5K versus Jordan Lyles 6K. Chase Anderson has been very, very lucky this year. I think his ERA is like somewhere under 2. But that's going to end sooner or later. So I think the Royals are probably the best like value stack. I guess they're considered value. Yeah, I would consider them that with only 2 guys over 4K. So I think, let's see, Anderson, yeah, BABIP 233. That'll change at some point. It'll catch up to him. He's been really, really good versus lefties this year. I think still just any of these top 5 hitters are in play, and then whatever you got to pair with them to get the full stack. Garcia and Lopez are such low power guys that kind of difficult to put in there, but these top 5 hitters are studs, so I think you can certainly go with them. But I guess I completely forgot we're talking about Anderson and not the Royals bats, but out on both pitchers, I think that's fairly easy to say. But yeah, with the Royals, I think any of the top 5 bats I'd be okay with. Over on the Rocky side, Lyles is kind of the same boat as Anderson, where he can certainly get knocked around. I don't know if I want the full stack here. With Colorado, certainly would want a few bats, especially lefties. You can see this really, really bad versus lefties. So I think McMahon would make for my favorite play here. But that'd probably be it. I mean, if you want to mix in some like Castro or Nolan Jones for like a mini stack, I'd be okay with that. If you need the cheap outfielder, I think you can go there with those guys. Like I said, the lefties versus Lyles, I think is what we'd want to target. All right, next game we got Tigers White Sox. Reese Olson 5.7K versus Mike Clevenger 6.6K. Don't know anything about Reese Olson at all. They haven't pitched yet. See if he's even in plate IQ. Probably not. Yep, definitely not. So, all right, we can just skip over him. I wouldn't have any interest in making his first start, regardless of what kind of talent. I mean, I've never heard of him, so I wouldn't expect his talent to be that off the wall. But still, probably like 80 pitches or something. And on this slate, I don't have any interest at all. If you dig into it later and you find out he's a stud, then let me know in the comments or something, so I don't get burnt by him. But all right. On the other side, Clevenger, though, I think it'll be between him or Flaherty as like the best 6K pitchers. This is Clevenger's first start back too, so I don't know. I mean, he usually can go kind of deep, but his pitch count's probably in the 80s, I would think. Here in the spot, Tigers don't have Riley Green, I think, at the moment. So this is definitely an attackable offense. So this is kind of why I like Clevenger more than Flaherty, but I would try to avoid this range. There's such good SP2s in the 7K range that I think I would try to stay above this. On the Tiger side, I mean, Clevenger certainly can be attacked, especially with lefties in this ballpark. Let's see the temp, 73 degrees. So I think you can take a few lefties here. I don't know if I'd go full stack, but I think any of these top 5 hitters would be okay. McKinstry, Baду, Baez, Torkelson, or Maitan. I think I could go with any of those if you just need real cheap. Put Badu in there or something. But other than that, I'm probably just out on the Tigers. Over on the White Sox side, I prefer them against a lefty is the only thing. So I'll probably just take a couple one-offs here. Strictly just chasing power. And I mean, when you consider it like that, that really leaves Robert and Jimenez, maybe Andrew Vaughn. But probably just a mini stack here with one of those 3 guys if you need to, chase a home run or something. All right, let's see what we got. 4 games left. Braves, Diamondbacks, 4.92 for the Braves, 4.58 for the Diamondbacks. Charlie Morton, 7.8K versus Merrill Kelly, 8.7K. So I think Morton's right there with John Gray as one of these SP2s that you can certainly have interest in. Morton's shown these high K games so far this year, over 7. What is that, 4 times or so, and every other start's had at least 5. I think he makes for a very interesting play here in this middle. Diamondbacks are certainly a good offense and kind of pesky, can obviously with them stealing bases and stuff can cause some havoc. But I think Morton's in play. Probably come down between him, John Gray, and Michael Wacha in the 7K range for me. Kind of low K rates, lower than I was expecting, I will say. Yeah, but I think Morton's in play. If you end up in the 7K range, just kind of take your favorite between Wacha, Gray, and Morton. But I think they're all in consideration. Merrill Kelly on the other side, I don't have a lot of interest. He's been better this year. Shown some really just high upside games, but I don't think I'd really expect that to continue. I just feel more confident, I think, just going Morton, just because the offense he's facing. So I'm probably out. This is a high K team with the Braves, but I could see Morton going, or Kelly going like 6 innings, 4 runs, 6 Ks or something, which on this slate, that's not going to pay off at 8.7K. So I'm probably out on Kelly. Braves on the other side, from what I'm seeing right now, they're probably not going to be as owned as like the Phillies and some of these other teams. I really like the Braves. Anytime you can get the Braves low owned, you just take them. I guess people are scared of Kelly. I'm not really scared of him. We've taken teams in this ballpark all season long, so I think this makes for a great spot for the Braves. Obviously, salary is going to be an issue though. If you're trying to get to the top pitchers, you're going to have to be diving down here at the bottom of the order. But I think any and all guys are in play. Rosario, all these from the left side's tough at 4.7K. Rosario's upside isn't quite there, but if you need the salary, I guess you could go there. I would rather just go to Ozuna or Harris. Ozuna has more home run upside, and Harris has more steal upside, probably more home run upside too than Rosario. So I think I'd rather go one of those guys, but anybody else is in play. For the Diamondbacks, I think it's the lefties that you can attack Morton with. That certainly leaves Corbin Carroll at the top of the list. Just off to a great season, power and speed wise. I think that's probably the only one I would go to. Would be Carroll. If you want a cheap outfielder with some still upside, McCarthy's right there. If he gets on base, he's going to run. Pavin Smith batting leadoff. I know he put up a donut on Thursday, so people might be mad, but I think any of these lefties are in play. But probably just a mini stack for me. I don't really see myself getting to a full-time Diamondback stack here. All right, next game we got Cubs Padres, 3.74 total for the Cubs, 4.76 for the Padres. Jameson Taillon, 5.4K versus Michael Wacha, 7.4K. I'm going to be out on Taillon. Low strikeout team with the Padres. He hadn't really gone deep this year. Yeah, max like 4 innings. I don't know what they're doing with him. So no interest in Taillon. Wacha on the other side. He's had these really good games so far this year. Yeah, 39 against the Royals. Coming off 2 straight 16-point starts. The problem is the strikeouts. Look at that. There's only one time he's been over 4 in his last 5 starts. See the strikeout rates for the Cubs against right-handed pitching. Relative to Morton and John Gray, he certainly has the easiest matchup, I would say, with Gray against the Mariners and Morton against the Diamondbacks. But he's probably the worst of the 3. Only 20% K rate. Yeah, 24% K rate for the team as a whole. And I've just been burnt by Wacha so many times. I feel like his upside isn't there on a 13-game slate. I think Morton and Gray certainly could both get hit around, but I think they can also both get 30. I'm not sure Wacha can do that. I would expect him to be right here in this 16-point range again. Like, even if he goes 6 innings with the win, he's still like at 20 points. Which, I mean, you have to nail your stack and your one-offs, and you'll be fine with that. But safety-wise, I think it's Wacha. If you're playing cash games or something, Wacha is probably fine. But I like the upside of Gray and Morton more, but that's probably going to be one of those 3 is probably where I'm going to be for SP2, and I'm just going to have to decide as the day goes on. All right, we got 2 games left. Yankees versus Dodgers, 3.68 total for the Yankees, 4.32 for the Dodgers. Luis Severino, 7.1K. Clayton Kershaw, 9K. I don't. That price is nice for Severino, 7.1K, but it's just tough against the Dodgers. I just don't think it's really worth it. Could he go out there and dominate them? Yeah, but I mean, we have 13 games to pick from. So I think between all these other pitchers, we can find someone that we like a little bit more. And he's still right here in the 7K range with some of these other guys that we've already talked about. So yeah, I'm probably out. Yeah, low K rates. And then even the guys that don't are months in, JD Martinez, who can take him over the fence really at any time. So I'm probably out with Severino. Kershaw is certainly interesting. Should have Stanton and Donaldson back for the Yankees. So coming back both at the same time. That should increase the K rates though for this team. Yeah, 26 for Stanton, 20 for Donaldson. Some of these guys that have been in there the last few days for the Yankees have been really low K rate. So I think Kershaw's in play. He's coming off a bad start, if I remember right, though, which I don't mind. I feel like this is usually when Kershaw smashes, he comes out and just, pulls one of these great starts out. Yeah, it looks like 3 bad starts in a row, really. The Ks are still there, though, which I like to see. I think I would prefer Castillo and Wheeler more, but if you don't have the salary for them and you end up on Kershaw, I'd be okay with it. We know he has plenty of upside, and like I said, the Ks are still there. So, even if he has a bad start and can get 6 Ks, that kind of keeps the floor around like 10 or 12 points. But if he can have the Ks and limit the runs, then we should see 25 plus. So I think he's in play. Over on the Yankees side, hitters, I mean, it would only be power hitters, really, Judge and Stanton, but you're just kind of taking a shot against Kershaw. I don't think it's really necessary to force them in. Obviously, Judge is always in play versus anybody, but I mean, I'd rather just go to Acuna or Trout or something like that. Well, maybe not Trout versus Valdez, but I think there's other places to go. So I'm probably out. You're not really getting leverage. Kershaw shouldn't be owned, I wouldn't think. So I don't necessarily see it. Donaldson price at 3.1K is interesting. He probably won't be that low for a while, so I think he would be an interesting one off as well. Down over on the Dodgers side, these prices are just way too high. I think to take certainly to take a full stack in against Severino. I think even to play some mini stacks, these are just tough. Severino's a good pitcher. That's not the issue here. With him, so I think I'd probably out on the Dodgers. I think they both just balance each other out. I could see Severino going 5 or 6 innings for 3 runs or something, and that you'd have to take a guess on what Dodger gets him, which is going to be hard, and plus the price is tough. So probably out on Dodgers. All right, last game we got Orioles Giants, 3.6 total for the Orioles, 4.4 for the Giants. Dean Kramer 6.7K versus Logan Webb 9.7K. Kramer. No, I'm trying to think in comparison to Clevenger and Flaherty. Yeah, he's going to be right here in this 10 to 20 point range. The Ks just aren't really there. Giants. Let's see how they fare versus right-handed pitching. Because I'm not super high on Clevenger or Flaherty, so maybe this is where you go if you end up in the 6K range. I mean, all these guys they're probably going to end up between 10 and 16 points ultimately when it comes down to it. Yeah, only 17% K rate. Pretty high K rate though as a team, so I think he'd be my favorite over Clevenger and Flaherty. But that's not an endorsement by any means. I don't think I'll play Kramer. But if you end up under 7K, he's in consideration. I'll just say that. Webb on the other side, he's been really good this year. Tough matchup here against the Orioles. Yeah, only 20% K rate, 22% K rate for Webb for the last 2 years. I bet if I sort that on just this year, though, it should spike. Yeah, it's 27%. So K's have certainly been up this year. One problem is, like I said, the pitchers on this slate. We have Wheeler, we have Castillo, we have Kershaw. I think Webb is probably behind all those, and he's the most expensive. So I'm probably just gonna be out on Webb. Hitters in this game, I hate taking hitters in this ballpark, so I'm probably just out on both sides. These pitchers are fine. Bullpens are fine for both teams, so I'm probably just out. I'd want to take Conforto or Jock if they were in there versus Kramer, maybe, but just not in this spot. I'm probably just out on this game completely. I mean, 60 degrees in San Francisco. There's no reason to take hitters here when we have 90 degrees in Washington and Pittsburgh and places like that. All right, that does it. That is the full slate. We can do a quick recap. I think pitching wise, you're gonna have to decide Ohtani or Framber. My preference is Ohtani, but obviously I recognize the salary might be an issue, so understand Framber as well. I'm gonna have this 9K range with Castillo, Wheeler, and Kershaw. I like them in that order. They're all certainly playable though. Verlander at 8.6K in the middle there, kind of in no man's land. I think I'll be out on him. And then we have Waka, John Gray, and Charlie Morton in the 7K range. I think the upside for Gray and Morton outweighs Waka, but I think Waka's probably the safest option out of those three. And then anything under 7K, I think that would be Kramer, Clevenger, and Flaherty. Don't like any of them. I don't plan on playing any of the three, but I think Kramer would be my favorite out of those. For offenses, I think the top offense is the Phillies. We talked about the weather here about an hour ago whenever we went over the game, but 88 degrees in Washington against a fly ball pitcher. I think this makes for an awesome spot for the Phillies. They should carry some ownership though, so just keep that in mind with your pitchers. I think the pitchers are so spread out that just a slight pivot or something should be fine. I don't know if anyone will really be chalky. Phillies though should carry the most ownership. I think Tampa, if that game plays, will be a good spot against Whitlock. I like the Braves against Merrill Kelly. I think they should go lower on than necessarily they should, just because the good offense. I would take them really on against anybody. For value, I think the Twins are in play. I think the Royals are in play, and then we hit on some one-offs as we went through the slate. But I think that about wraps it up. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Good luck tonight. These Friday slates are tough with so many games. So really, if you find something you like, just run with it. Everything I think ownership wise is going to be pretty spread out. So just stick with it. If you found something that you liked through this video or through your own research, I would just stick with it and put it in there and see what happens. So thanks again, and I'll see you at the top.